The Unstoppable Climb, a tale of determination and triumph. In a small village nestled at the foot of a mighty mountain, there lived a young boy named Arjun. The mountain, called Peak of Triumph, was legendary. It was said that those who reached its summit were destined for greatness, but the journey was treacherous, and no one from Arjun's village had ever succeeded. Arjun, however, was different. He wasn't the strongest, fastest, or even the smartest boy in the village, but he possessed one thing that set him apart: unshakable determination. Every morning, he would gaze at the towering peak, imagining himself standing atop it. One day, Arjun announced to the villagers, "I'm going to climb the Peak of Triumph." The villagers laughed. "You're too young, too small. The mountain is impossible." Even his parents tried to dissuade him. "Stay safe, Arjun. There's no shame in dreaming from afar." But Arjun had made up his mind. With a small bag of provisions and a heart full of courage, he began his ascent. The first day was exhilarating. The path was steep, but Arjun pushed on, encouraged by the thought of his dream. By nightfall, he reached a plateau and set up camp. As he rested, the wind howled, carrying whispers of doubt. "You can't do this. Turn back before it's too late." Arjun shook off the thoughts and whispered to himself, "One step at a time." The next day was harder. The terrain became rocky and uneven. His legs burned and his hands blistered from gripping jagged edges. At midday, a fierce storm rolled in. Rain lashed against him and the cold seeped into his bones. He found a small cave for shelter and huddled there, shivering. As the storm raged on, he thought about the villagers' words. Maybe they were right. Maybe the mountain was too much for him. But then he remembered why he had started: to prove to himself that he was capable of more than anyone believed. When the storm passed, Arjun emerged from the cave. The air was crisp and the view below was breathtaking. He could see the village, tiny and distant. It reminded him how far he'd already come. On the third day, Arjun faced his greatest challenge yet, a sheer cliff that seemed to scrape the sky. His muscles ached and his body screamed for rest, but he knew the summit was close. He took a deep breath, focused on the smallest handholds, and began his climb. Halfway up, he slipped. For a heart-stopping moment, he dangled by one hand, the abyss yawning below him. His mind screamed, "Let go! It's over!" But deep inside, a voice roared louder, "Hold on!" With every ounce of strength he had left, Arjun pulled himself up and kept climbing. Hours later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, he reached the summit. The world stretched endlessly around him, bathed in golden light. Tears streamed down his face as he stood there, victorious. The mountain hadn't beaten him, it had shaped him. When Arjun returned to the village, he was greeted with awe. The same people who had doubted him now celebrated him. But Arjun didn't climb the mountain for their approval. He climbed it to prove to himself that persistence could conquer the impossible. And from that day on, whenever someone in the village faced a challenge, they would say, "If Arjun can climb the Peak of Triumph, I can do this too." Your biggest challenges are the ones that define you. No matter how steep the climb or how loud the doubts, keep going. One step at a time is all it takes to achieve greatness.